Greetings Guzzlers, baking session. We're going to make some traditional Scottish shortbread. Now, Scottish shortbread is not bread, it's a biscuit. It's not cookie, it's a biscuit. Okay, that's sort of like set in law, if you like. And it's called a shortbread simply because, actually it used to be called shortcake, but we'll come to that. The shortbread, the short refers to the fact that it's this crumbly texture. So a shortbread biscuit doesn't have any leavening agents in it. No baking soda or baking powder or anything like that. But it's butter, flour, sugar, salt and vanilla. Now for shortbread there is a set, sort of semi-set ratio of 1 part butter or fat, shortening, 1 part sugar, 2 parts fat, and 3 to 4 parts a plain white wheat flour. So in here I've got 60 grams. I'm getting me parts mixed up, aren't I? I've got 60 grams of sugar here. I've got 150 grams of softened butter, and I'm going to add that sugar to that, and we're just going to beat that together until it's all nicely sort of creamed together, as it were. I was telling you about the shortbread. It originates in Scotland. There does appear to be some possible French influences back when there was the old alliance between France and Scotland, and although shortbread sort of been around since the 1200s, it was during the 16th century where really it sort of became more I don't know, popular, but it the shortbread that we think of today that we're making really was influenced by Mary Queen of Scots. So it is quite an ancient thing, but the traditional one we think of today is more from the 16th century. The first printed recipe, 1736, by a Scotswoman named Mrs. McClintock. Can't do Scottish accent. Let's probably get told off for it. At this point, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. I mean, a little salt cauldron. A teaspoon of vanilla. Some people use things like almond extract, or I can't think what the other ones are, but you can flavour it differently if you wish. So that one's mixing in, and along with that we're going to add 230 grams of plain flour. And again, it's just a matter of mixing these all together. Now we want them all blended together, but we don't want to overwork it. Okay, so at some point I'm going to get my hands in there. So when we mentioned about Mary Queen of Scots, that was at a time when the biscuits were sort of triangular shaped, and they were quite often decorated around the edges, and hence they got sort of known as petticoats of biscuits, or petticoat tails, because this resemblance to petticoats. Normally there's 3 traditional ways of shaping the shortbread. One is a large round biscuit which is cut into triangles, what we've just said, like with the petticoat tails. Another is smaller round biscuits, so individual little biscuits, and the third option is these oblongs, rectangles. So that's your typical shape. Let me now get my hands in here. Now, shortbread, some people might say it still is, was traditionally sort of an expensive thing. Whether that's to do with the sugar or not, I don't really know, to be honest. But it was often given as like gifts or whatever at special occasions like hogmanay. Scottish New Year or Christmas or weddings. And in fact there was a tradition where a decorated shortbread, large shortbread, would be broken over the head of the bride as she entered a new house. Not quite sure why they would ruin a nice bit of shortbread by smacking it over the head with it, but there you go. So that's just about ready to turn out. Now you want to put your oven on, fan oven 170 on a floured surface, and I'll just bring it all together. Now, like I say, it's not like your normal traditional dough, so when we come to roll it, you may find it starts cracking around the edges. Don't worry too much about that. And we're going to roll it around about a 1/4 inch thick. I'm using quite a large cutter here, and I'm using a little lapwing cookie imprinter, if you like, because there is a reason I wanted a nice little lapwing on each one. So I'm cutting them. Now, I said to you about it's called a shortbread, but actually at one point it was also referred to as shortcake. For a long time in British English, and the two terms shortbread, shortcake were sort of like quite synonymous with each other. They meant the same thing. Whereas nowadays, of course, cake and shortbread, you know, shortbread, shortcake, particularly say in America, they mean two different things. So, there is shortcake mentioned in Shakespeare. Merry Wives of Windsor, he refers to shortcake. He's actually referring to shortbread. Now, obviously these are large, so I'm not going to get many in my pan, but they don't spread, so you don't need to worry about spacing them properly. So I'm going to re-roll that, I'm going to get cutting some more, and then they're going to go into the oven. I was just going to say I'm going to have this one because they rolled this one a bit thin and it's going to break, and it has just broken. So there is the first batch out, the traditional Scottish shortbread. So like I say, this one broke. It's that lovely buttery, sort of semi-dry texture that if you like shortbread, and I love shortbread, always have done, this is just perfect. Sometimes you find people sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top when it's straight out the oven. These are sweet enough. Like I say, nice and buttery. Now, I should say, I'll tell you why I put a lapwing imprint on top. Simply being, the lapwing is the symbol of our sort of favourite place to go to. A symbol of Elmley National Nature Reserve. Traditional Scottish shortbread.